Hello, everybody. My name is Kyle Lee, aka Kilo Loco from kiloloco.com, and today we're going to be going over Firebase Database structuring. The tools that we're going to be using, you can see right here: Xcode 8.2.1, Swift 3, CocoaPods, and Firebase. Now, this is more of an intermediate level tutorial. And the reason for that is because I'm going to be using models a lot, different models, structs and classes, mainly structs, I think. Oh, maybe classes, I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm going to be using different models, using a lot of abstraction. You also have to know how to use table views. And then also for this information to actually be useful in like a production level project, you might want to know how to use Firebase authorization. You don't need Firebase authorization to get the database going, but you probably wouldn't want all your data out there for the world to see. So that's just something that you might want to keep in mind. But overall, if you have all of that or some of that, feel free to continue watching. Even if you don't have any of that, feel free to continue watching. I try to be very thorough. That's why this video is going to be so long. And let's get into it. I'm going to be going step by step, so it should be fairly reasonable for you guys to follow along. All right, let me just close out pages so that we have a little bit more processing power. All right, start off with a new project. Let's do this. All right, so single view application, as always, we'll just call this a Fire data structure. Sure, Fire data structure. Why not? All right, save it in KL Learning because that's where I learn ya. And first thing I'm gonna do, as usual, set up that storyboard before we go any further. For this one, we're going to be using a nav bar, right? Make it look a little bit prettier this time. Yeah, that's different, ain't it? Like, Kyle, you don't usually use the nav bar. What's going on? Man, we're gonna make it look a little bit prettier. Just a little bit prettier. Ain't nothing wrong with that. We're gonna do 64 because at the top we don't want it running into the little power sign or whatever. And that little top part is 20 pixels or 20 whatever from the top. So if we do it like this, update those frames, voila, looks normal. All right, get our table view. If I know how to spell table, it's always a plus. Get this set up. There we go. Did it work? Oh yeah, there it goes. All right, obviously set those pins. In my last video I forgot to do this, so let's go ahead and do this. Data source. We also have to add a bar button. And I'm just going to put on the right side. It's going to be a little plus because we're going to be doing essentially get and post requests, but that's not what they're really called in Firebase. But I think you guys get what I'm saying. We're going to be posting to the database. So yeah. And we're going to be doing, what do we want to do? Want to do posts? Yeah, let's do posts. Let's say this is like the home feed, right? And this is where all of our posts are going to be. Since we're making it kind of pretty, I'd like to use a different color. This is my favorite color right here, this purple. I like to call that young purple. Yeah, that young purple dough. Okay, nav bar item. Have to change the text color. All this is completely unnecessary, but I'm doing it anyway. so deal with it. Okay, everything's starting to slow down. I might want to hurry up. All right, that's prettier than normal, right? That's prettier than normal. Got all of our constraints set, and we just got to connect stuff. So, well, you could have opened. The heck? You're really gonna make me dig down deep? Really? It's kind of messed up. Don't need this. Don't need sidebar. Make a little bit of room at the top for the table view. It's a lot of room, but whatever. Table view. And the action from this bar button will be on add tapped. And we want to make sure that's an action. And we connect it. Alrighty. So that's done. Okay, so the idea here is we're gonna have a bunch of posts. It's gonna be kind of like a notes type of app, right? We're gonna have each cell is gonna have a main title and then a details message. Whether or not that information in there complies to that idea, I don't know. I'll get there when we get there. But when I hit the plus, I want an alert to pop up, be able to enter in some type of text or whatever, and then send that up to the database, and then pull back down the updated table from that database or the updated data from that database. So we are going to need view did load because we're going to have to add an observer, but I'll get into that later. For right now, we'll just create the alert controller, UI alert controller, and then we're gonna initialize this thing with a title. Enter, or we'll call it post something. What would you like to post? Dot alert style, baby. Oh yeah, alert. We have to add a text field. And then only thing that I want in here is for the text field to have a placeholder equal to enter message here, something like that. We also have to create some actions, so let cancel action. I always like to do cancel first. UI action, no, it's supposed to be alert action. Alert action, there you are. Initialize this one also with the title. It's just gonna be cancel dot cancel for the style, nil for the completion handler. Let post, nope, post equal UI alert action. Also going to initialize this with the with the title. This one's gonna be post, and then style is dot default. And we do need some stuff here, so not doing anything to the buttons, so this could be underscore. Not accessing that property. All we really need to do is guard let text equal alert dot text fields dot first dot text else return. And I think there has to be another question mark right here because the text fields is also optional. And then we just want to print out that text for the time being until we're actually going to use it. We have to add the action, so alert.add action. Wait for the autocomplete, and the action we're going to add is cancel. We're also going to alert.add action post, and then we're going to present this view controller alert. What else is it? Animated true. Completion is going to be nil, right? I don't know if this present will work. I don't usually type out the entire present, but we'll see. All right, so if this works, we should be good with the alert. Oh, it did work. I'm getting pretty good at remembering how to create the alert. Do the present for alerts. Anyway, yeah. So let's just check our code, make sure everything looks as we would expect it to. I could also probably do, while we wait for this stuff, I could do the extension for the table view extension. What is it? View controller. UI table. No. UI. What am I doing? UI table view data source. There we go. Head is not in the game right now. Table view data source. Why did you crash? Something's not right. That's weird. What did I do, guys? Tell me what I did wrong. Unrecognized selector. I think all this stuff is right. Isn't it? Well, what I could do, hate when stuff's not going as expected. So I gotta figure out what's going on. Not supposed to be having any problems this early. Yeah, that's fine. Table view is fine. Data source should be fine. Right? Hold on, let me double check this data source. Yeah, everything should be fine. What are you breaking for? Okay, hold on. All right, we'll get back to that, but first I want to do the extensions on the other stuff. So let's do number of sections, return 1, number of rows, return 0, sure, whatever, I don't know. Cell for row. Let cell equal UI table view cell. Initialize that. We want to specify the style, which is going to be dot subtitle and no reuse identifier return cell. All right. So extension, and this is the wrong view controller, so that might have something to do with it. Wait, Was it the wrong view? No, it wasn't the wrong view controller. I'm tripping. Man, there's something wrong with me right now. It's really hot. I'm sorry, guys. Alright. I don't think I did anything to break it. Everything's connected. We got the dots, right? Extension looks good. Maybe because I was doing the typing for the extension midway and it caused some type of break. So let's see. If not, I have to start all the way over again. Because we don't know what's going on. Xcode's just being mean to us. So this is the app. Oh, there we go. See, worked. I don't know what happened. All right, so let's go ahead and do our add. Little add button, right? And then I'm gonna say, oh hi there. And then when I press post, it should print, oh hi there. Good, we're set. All right. So now we're going to be doing, we're going to be showing posts, right? So let's just do, well, should we make our model already? You know what? Let's get it started. You know, because we're going to have to anyway. And then this will allow me to do the table view stuff already. So we'll just do post. The initializer will have to be done a little bit later, but we'll get to that when we need to. So we'll do struct post, and then that's all we need. And then we can go back to our view controller, do an array of posts, var posts equal to an empty array of posts, and then we could do return posts.count. And yeah, right. And then what do we want in our posts actually? So we're gonna have, I'm gonna send up the username, the message, and the date. But we'll get to that. Actually, we can do, since it's a struct, we don't even have to do the initializer just yet. We can do it like this. So, and we want to use what is it, a post ID? Yeah. So let post ID equal, and this is going to be, what do we want it? String, because the post ID for Firebase are a little bit different. So it's gonna be a string. We want to have the username of the person that. Why am I doing equals? I'm sorry, guys. Something wrong with me. I'm telling you, it's the heat. It's getting to my head. I apologize. Message, right? And then let date. We want a date because we're gonna have to be able to sort these as well by the time that they came in. And yeah. All right. So what we're actually going to use can now be accessed here. So what we'll do is we'll do cell.text label. That's optional. .text is equal to posts and index path dot row, and then what do we want there? We want the message, right? And then for the details text label, also optional. Sorry for any noise. My son's in the background, little baby, which is why you guys didn't get a video last weekend, is because I had a little baby boy. So he's in the living room right now with the AC and may cry. So apologize for any extra noise. Username. All right, for in the details, you're just gonna be able to see who posted that and detail. Maybe it's detail. There we go. All right. All right. So run that. Just make sure that there's no crashes, no weird stuff happening again. After this, we're gonna get all set up on Firebase. Now, we're not gonna be using authentication or authorization in this one, so that's why I stated at the beginning that you should probably know it, because you're not going to want to let everybody access your data. But for this one, we're going to set in our rules that anybody can read it, anybody can write to it, and that there should be no problem. And yeah, but in a real situation, if you're using it for a production level, you're going to want to know how to do authorization. I'm going to show you how to change it so that everybody can read and write to your database. But if you want to do authorization and make sure that the user is part of your system, then you have to set up the authorization, which means that you have to create the user with the email or with social network, and we're not going to go through all that. If you want to know how to set up how to create a user with the email address, I do have a video on that. It's also a Firebase video, so go ahead and check that out, and then you can combine those two, this concept and that concept of authorization and creating a user together in order to do it properly. But yeah. All right, so now we're going to go to Safari or Chrome, whatever the hell you want to use. And we're going to go to firebase.google.com. Make sure that you're logged into your Gmail account or your Google account, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to go to console. You will then see all the projects that you've made in Firebase, if you have made any. If you haven't, it'll be just a blank screen. We're going to start from the beginning, so there's no worry. We're just going to do add project. And what's my project's name? It's called, what is it called? Fire Data Structure. Doesn't have to be the same. You call it whatever you want, but that's the name of my Xcode project, so obviously makes sense to call it the same thing. While that works on whatever it's doing, I'm going to go back over here to my main file, get my bundle identifier, command all, command copy, and we're going to get started with our iOS. Got to paste in that bundle ID right there, register your app. Make sure you download your configuration file. Got it. I'm going to press continue, but first I want to go on my Finder. Go to my downloads at the top. Alright, so notice that it says 7. That's because I have 7 of these in my downloads. I'm going to go ahead and just drag it. You could drag it in anywhere inside the project, as long as it's like in here, I think. Make sure you have copy items if needed checked, and obviously the target is your app. Now what you're going to want to do is make sure that if you have multiple Google service info plists, that you correct the name so that it doesn't have a number appended to the end of it or a dash. So it should look like this. You cannot use your older Google service info.plists on different projects. They're not interchangeable. This one has stuff that's related with your bundle ID in there and stuff like that, so that's why they're not interchangeable. Anyway, let's go back. So now all we have to do is do pod init, and we want to do pod Firebase core. And since we're going to be doing the database, we're also going to do pod database. So we're going to go ahead and close this because we don't need it anymore for, well, yeah, since we're going to be working in the workspace. So we're just change directory, desktop, KL learning. That's where I learn ya. And then we're going to do fire data structure. There we go. We're going to do pod init. Open our pod file. And then I always just uncomment right there. Put my pod in right here, and then I also, what the heck is going on? Why is it doing this weird stuff? I also want to do not the core but the database, because that's how you That's how you have access to their real-time database. So you're going to command save, and then you do pod install. And it'll give you all the stuff that you need. Simple as that. It shows that it shows all the dependencies here. You just want to make sure that you have Firebase Core and Firebase Database in there, and I think you're set. I think everything else is just extra. It's all gravy. Okay, so while that works on that, we did the install, and then all we have to do is make sure that we do for app.config in our app delegate, and the application did finish launching with options. So this is all set. We're gonna open up this directory, and we're going to go to the workspace instead of the project, right? Open this bad boy up, go to app delegate, import Firebase, and then we're going to do that thing that it told us to do. So for app dot configure, I'm gonna build it, make sure everything's working. Should be good. All right, so while that's working, we're just going to go ahead and press finish, and we can go over to database. Now, the great thing about Firebase is that they have awesome documentation. They literally walk you through step by step how to do everything. If you didn't know, you can always just go to the learn more area. See, learn more. Go to the learn more area, and they'll give you the platform that you want to, whatever platform you're working on. iOS is the one that we're obviously on. And also the great thing about Firebase is that they know that people are doing stuff in Swift. So they give you the option for Objective-C and for Swift. It's not just for Objective-C. You don't have to do any translation or anything like that. So as you can see, it gives you all the documentation. This is kind of, they give you like a lot of documentation, so you have to read through a lot. You can obviously skip through stuff, as you can see over here. But that's what I'm here for, to give you video format so you don't have to read, because I don't like reading either. And yeah, let's get this bad boy going. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to set up the a model that will not necessarily a model, but I want to set up the database service. So I'm going to create a new file. Whoops, that was the wrong one. So new file. And then it's just going to be a Swift file. I'm going to call this one database service. Seems professional, so I just go with that name. Call it whatever you want. All right, so we're going to import Firebase. And then we're going to do, this is going to be a class, because we want to make a singleton out of it. Database service. And then we want to have a shared instance of it. So do static let shared equal database service, right? Also, we want to make sure that you cannot initialize this bad boy, so we'll do private init, and then we also, I think that's really all we need. Let me check my cheat sheet over here. Gone through this once, just want to remember how I did it. Yeah, that's all we really need. Okay, so now what are we going to do? All right, so the first thing that we're going to work on is actually posting data to the database, right? And before we do that, we have to specify who can post and who can read from the database. So we're going to go back over to the real-time database, And as you can see, default security rules require users to be authenticated. Well, I just stated a couple minutes earlier that we are not going to go through authentication. So we're going to go over to rules, and you're going to see that it looks like this. And they say as long as if a user is, it's pretty much like a Boolean, right? So as long as authorization is not equal to nil or null, then they can, right? If it is equal to null, then they can't. It's false. But we're just gonna let everybody access this because we don't want to go through authorization right now. We don't want to have to create a user and all this other stuff. So just go ahead and set them both to true. It's also cool because you can kind of show other people that you have set up a database, and they can see your data and all this other stuff. But I'll get into that a little bit later. And you just want to set this to publish. So now it's going to say, hey, you know what? Anyone can read and write to your database. That means that they can delete everything in your database, which is not a good thing. Just be careful when you're doing this. Very, very insecure. Anyways, that will allow us to read and write without authorization. All right. So next, what I want to do is I want to create a reference to our database, and I want to say, you know, for this endpoint, essentially it's kind of like an endpoint I want, which is going to be posts. I want to be able to pass data into that part of the endpoint. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a post reference. Firebase documentation will tell you to just create a reference, which will be like this. It'll be like let ref equal database dot, or no, it's a fir database dot database dot reference. And what it does is it goes into your Google service info.plist, and it gets the reference to your database on Firebase, and that's what lets you connect. So that's what the configure does. It connects this reference to your Firebase or your database on Firebase. So that's what this is. But what I want to do is, since just for ease of use and for this example, I'm just going to turn this into a post reference, and I'm just going to go a couple steps further. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do dot child, and then I'm going to specify a path. So the path that I want to specify is going to be posts, right? Because this is my post reference, or actually I'll call it posts reference. I'll make it plural so that it's not like I'm posting a reference. I don't know. Anyway, it's going to be called posts, right? So right now we don't have a path called posts in the database, but as soon as we do a post to the posts reference, then it will automatically create that path and then store the data in that path. So that's all we really have to do. If we wanted to do the same thing, like let user reference, like if we want to create user reference, or like let's say let's say you're making a I don't know, like a beer app or something like that. It'll be like a beers reference, right? Reference, and then you would just do the same thing, and then you would create a path called beers, right? Or actually, let's just do that, beers, right? No, I want to stick with the posts because then I have to think about other stuff, and I don't really know that much stuff about beers. But anyways, I hope this is kind of clear to you that it's going to create a path, and then in that path you'll have all your data, and you'll be able to see this in a couple of seconds when I actually do it, but I just wanted to let you know right here. All right, so now let's see. We got to go over. Let me see how I did it. Want to make sure I do it the right way, the same way. And right here in post, I'm gonna do it right here when I tap post. So as soon as I tap post, in my alert, it will execute the post to Firebase into my database for the post reference. Watch. So I'm gonna do gotta access my database service, get the shared reference, right? Dot posts reference, right? And then from here I have to give it an ID, because since the Firebase database is all based off of Json, they do it in a way where everything is like a dictionary. So you have to have a like no matter what, even if you want an array, it would just essentially be dictionaries, right? So you have to specify a key for each dictionary, and what I'm going to do is just going to do child by auto ID, which will generate a random key for each of the posts, and this will be my eventually I'll turn this into my post ID. But yeah, and then we're gonna do another child, or no, wait, we're gonna do how did I do it? We're gonna do set value. That's what it is. Set value. And it takes in any object. It takes in any, right? So nil, right? Because we don't have anything that we want to post just yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create some parameters that I'm going to pass. And we already specified what parameters that we already specified what properties we want each of our posts to have. So it has to have a post ID, which is going to be that ID that's generated, that child by auto ID. That's what that's going to be. We have to send the username, the message, and the date. So and the date, you can only send up strings, integers, or I'm not sure if they allow floats. I think it's only strings and integers, or maybe doubles, and then arrays and dictionaries that you can pass up to Firebase. So be careful with the type of data that you're sending. Obviously, a date object from iOS cannot live in the Firebase database. You have to convert it to something and then bring it back down and convert it into back into a date. So with that being said, let's say we, like I said, well, we just talked about date, so let's do the date first. So let date string equal string, and we'll do describing the date whenever it was posted, so that will be easy to send up. Okay, so now we have the date string, we have the text, so we for the message that we want to send, and then the username I could just specify in the parameters. So let parameters equal, and then let me just get all the spaces in there so that I could just go back and fill them in. And remember that we don't have to do the user ID because it's child by auto ID. That's gonna be automatically generated for us. So we want to do username, and my username is gonna be at @kilo_loco. My message that I want to send is going to be the text, and then the date that I want to pass is going to be a date string, right? And we'll just smooth everything out so that it looks pretty, easily readable, right? And then for the value, I'll be passing the parameters in. So I hope this is kind of makes sense. I know I've been talking a lot without actually doing anything, but I'm just trying to explain what's gonna happen and kind of some of these things you have to think about. As you can see, there's no data in this Fire data structure. That's the name of the project, but there's no data in here. As soon as I do post with whatever text I enter, it'll populate the database automatically. It'll make the path that I specified back in the database service, which is posts, and then we will be able to move forward from there. So let's go ahead and make sure this is set to 7, because that's the simulator that I already have running, and run it. So as soon as I press post, it will send up that data, and it will update the database in real time. So let's just have this open, so when the simulator pops up, we can see it happen. And it's actually really quick, which is an amazing thing. Here we go. As soon as it pops up. All right, so we have posts, right? So we're gonna go ahead and do our post something what we'd like to post, enter message here. And this is my Firebase post. And we do post. Should have sent. Bam, see? Auto completed. There, you didn't have to reload the page or anything. So now I open this up, I press the little plus, right? This is the child by auto ID, remember? So it's auto generated, and it's a unique string. And then as you can see here, we have the date, the message, and the username. And it looks like it's all sorted alphabetically. So it doesn't even matter which way you go. So it's all there. If I do another one, I'll just do another one, right? It'll also be posted at Kilo Loco, right? Once again, completely different string, auto-generated. And there we go. See, another one. Also, something that I wanted to specify, because this is something that I ran into trouble when I was doing it. Make sure that you do the child by auto ID outside of the database service, because using a singleton, it obviously only creates the child by auto ID once. Therefore, it's not going to be a unique ID, and it will just keep updating your values. So that's why I have it out here, so that it's always something different once it goes up to the database. All right, so now we got that going. We're posting successfully. We're posting the username, message, and date successfully. Now that we can kind of see what's going on, we want to be able to get that data back, right? And we're going to do that up here in view did load. So as soon as it loads, we get the reference, and we're observing this stuff as well. So we'll do database service dot shared dot. Sorry for the noise in the background, guys. I got my niece just came over, so it's gonna be a little bit extra noisy. All right, so then we're gonna do observe, and we're going to do this one, the one at the top. Now there's all kinds of different observing that you can do. You can do, if you only want to observe it once, all this stuff you can get into detail, but we're just going to do this top one. We just want to observe some type of event, and then we're going to be passing. It's going to give us a snapshot in the callback, and with that snapshot we can do other things. So let's go through that. So the event type, we're going to do dot, what was it? Was it dot value? And then the snapshot, we'll just call this snapshot. And what the snapshot is it's just the snapshot is just pretty much, like it says, a snapshot of what it sees in the database. So it returns whatever it sees at that reference point, at that path in the reference point. So we'll do print snapshot. Do print snapshot, and then let me see what this error is. I think there's something wrong right here, but we won't know until Firebase wakes back up. I think I have to specify that it is a Firebase fire data event, something for data event type. That's what it has to be. So you have to specify it doesn't just let you do dot value. All right. So another thing. So if I do dot, will it show you all the different things that you can observe? So I'm doing dot value, but you can do like you can observe only like the deletes. You can observe when something was added. You can do all these different things. I don't know why it's not waking up. Let me just build it real quick, see if it'll wake up so that I can show you all the different values that you can, or the different things that you could put in there. Oh, it's dot with, it's with snapshot. That's what it is. That's why it's cracking down on me. So you have to do it like this. With, and then close it. See, the autocomplete doesn't always work properly. Let's see if it'll work this time. This is how I have it in my notes for you guys, with snapshot in. Yeah, this should work. Oh, that's weird. I don't know how I was going this far without importing Firebase. It's kind of weird that I was able to go this far. Well, because I'm only creating a reference, I guess. Alright, well that's fine. Anyway, to observe, I need this. I need to be able to access the for data event object, event type object, and then I can get the dot value. Why aren't you going away? Okay, well, it's gonna go ahead and print out the snapshot without me even being able to kind of go through and break down what this is for you, but that's fine, whatever. So let's go ahead and look at what the snapshot's gonna show us. It's gonna show us pretty much all our data in the post path. Right, so this is what we have in our database. Like I said, it's just a snapshot of this. And since, remember, we specified posts, you know, it's the post reference, so we're observing that. So let's see if it'll do it now. So event type dot, see, child added. You could change it to you only wanted to observe when the child's added, child changed, moved, removed, or the value changed altogether. So it's pretty cool what you can do, what you can observe, and you can figure out different ways on how to make your app respond to specific events if you want something to only happen when something specific happens. But yeah, another thing that I want to show you is that now that we have it observing all values, whenever a value is changed, if I do add and then I type in something new, we'll get, since I'm changing the value of the post data, it will actually send me back all of it'll send me back a new snapshot. So as you can see, you get all that in there, and you'll see that something new is right here. So it's pretty cool. And this is where you would generally put, you would create your model, and then you would populate your table view and all that other stuff. And we're about to go through that stuff right now. But what I have to do is I have to, for data snapshot, I have to I have to be able to initialize my object with a snapshot. So what we're going to do is we're going to do initialize with a snapshot, or wait, how did I want to do this? What's the best way to show you guys this? Okay, for this one, we're going to initialize it with the post ID, and we're going to initialize it with the snapshot. So the snapshot is a dictionary. Well, the snapshot itself is not a dictionary, but the value of the snapshot is a dictionary. So if we do post ID, and remember that's a string, and then we do with dictionary, I guess, with a dict, we'll do of type string and any. Right? So obviously we'll do self.post ID is equal to post ID, and then we'll have to go through and parse out our objects. So we'll do we'll do guard let username equal dict username, let message equal dict message, and then we'll also do let date equal equal dict. Oh, I also forgot one other thing, date. Since we need to know what it's coming back as, so we do as string, and we'll just copy this as string. So remember, our date that we want to specify is going to be a string when it comes down, but for our actual object, for our post object, we want it to be like an NS date or a date object. So we have to do we have to get our date formatter going too. So before we do all this, let's do let date formatter, and this is going to be equal to date formatter, and then date formatter dot date style, or no, date format date. Why is it doing that? Oh, date formatter dot date format is equal to that, and then what we'll do is we'll do let date equal date formatter dot date from string, and we'll pass in our date string. Else return nil, and I'll make this a failable initializer. So then all we have to do is just set our values, obviously. So self.username is equal to username, self dot message is equal to message. Sorry for the dogs in the background, guys. And then date is equal to date, right? And that will properly initialize our object. Only problem is that we need to give the date format the proper thing. So I forgot exactly how the string looks when you do a date, but let me pull it up. Scratch dot playground. And you didn't have to do it in this format. You didn't have to even save the date. As you can see, watch, when you turn a string into a date, like the date is right now, when this runs, you'll see the date and what is it called, UTC, and it'll just save it in UTC, and then UTC looks like in this format. So we have lowercase y's, that's year, dash uppercase m's, that's month, dash dd, that's days. Uppercase h's are 24-hour format, hours, lowercase m's, minutes, lowercase s is seconds, and then the z's are time zones. Why this is not running, I don't know, but I'm not going to get into that. If you want, just look up date formatter. This doesn't really have much to do with Firebase, so I don't want to get into it. But yeah, that's going to be the date format that it's saved as we can see here. See, it's coming back. So lowercase y's, uppercase m, lowercase d's, uppercase h's, lowercase m's, lowercase s's, lowercase z's. That's the format. And that's the format there. So now we'll be able to initialize it. So when we go back over to our view controller, so now what we want to do is initialize that our snapshot. And let me see exactly how I wanted to do that. What was the best way? So oh, that's right. We actually have to make a second model, because this is going to be a dictionary essentially. It's not going to be an array, so we won't be able to iterate through them as easily. So we have to create a different model in order to create our posts. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll do new file, and this will make more sense when I actually get done with it. I'm sorry, guys. Posts, and we'll just call it post snapshot. Good abstraction. Remember, I told you abstraction is a big thing over here, so you gotta be ready to do some abstraction. And then for this, when we create this object, what we're gonna want to do is we're actually gonna need Firebase, because we're gonna want to take in that snapshot and just convert it into a model. So struct, and this will be post snapshot, and then we'll initialize this. Let's see, what will we initialize this with? We'll initialize this with a snapshot. With snapshot, and this will be of type for, what is it, for data snapshot. Forgot how they called it. Anyways, we're gonna do that. So let me go back over here, see exactly what the snapshot is. For data snapshot. Oh yeah, I remembered it right. Good for me. All right, so we're gonna take in the for data snapshot, and then we're gonna specify that it is it is a dictionary, so we're going to have to iterate through that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to have a property up here called posts, and this will be of type array of posts. Yeah, makes sense. I hope so. And then for this, we will say var, since we can't map our dictionaries on Swift in a simple way, we'll do var post is equal to posts, empty array, and then for snap in snapshot, right, we'll just say we'll initialize snapshot. Oh, we need snapshot value. Remember, we're using the value here, and we want to make sure that it's a dictionary because we can't iterate through the value, right? So we have to do guard let so we'll call this a snap dict equal snapshot dot value as a string and any object or any else return nil. Make this failable. And then we should be able to do snap dict, right? So for snap and snap dict, what we'll do is we'll create an object. So let post, and this needs to be plural, posts. Let post equal post, and we're gonna initialize this with the snap dot key and the snap dot value. Right? No, that won't work because it has to be of type dictionary, string any. And that should work actually, because it's expecting a dictionary. Did I put too many? No, that should work. Yeah, let's just say that's gonna work. I assume that it's gonna work. So posts dot append new element and this post that we just initialized, and then we'll do self dot posts is equal to posts, and this, oh, you know what, it's failable, so we have to do guard let post else return, else continue. Continue. All right. So, what's going on here? Nah, you're tripping. I did this right. Let me just make sure that I did do this right. I'm pretty sure that I did. The reason I had to do a guard let is because remember we made post failable. It was a failable initializer. Yeah. Okay, so let me go back and explain, because I did kind of just start coding without talking too much. So we want to take in the snapshot, right? But the snapshot isn't itself a dictionary. The value of the snapshot is a dictionary, And then also what we know about a snap is about the snapshot value is that it's going to be a string for the key, and then it's going to have a dictionary. I mean, that might not be the case with your data, but more likely than not it will be. So since I know that it's going to be like that, I could kind of specify it right here without having to do extra parsing. And I said that it's going to be a dictionary that has a key, and then the value is going to be another dictionary where the key is obviously going to be a string, and then the value can be any whatever. So as long as that works, we can move forward, and then we'll have a snap in the snap dictionary, for snap and snap dictionary. As long as we can create the post, then we'll go ahead and append it to these posts. And then once they're all appended, we'll set our value to posts. That's all we're doing. So I hope that wasn't too confusing. I know I stopped talking a little bit or wasn't giving useful information, but let us continue. So next, we just have to pretty much set our posts here to the snapshot posts, and we should be all good. So guard let posts equal posts snapshot, and we're going to initialize with snapshot, else return. Right, and as long as that works, we have our posts. So then what we can do is we could do self.posts is equal to posts, we'll actually call this posts snapshot, just so that doesn't look so stupid when I write it. Snapshot dot posts. And then we are going to update our table view. So self.tableview.reload data. And that's it. That's it. Like, it feels really easy and it wasn't confusing at all. I know, I'm sorry. Okay. So I'll go back. I'll do a quick rundown at the end, but let's just keep making progress for anybody that did understand it and somehow understood the words that were coming out of my mouth. I don't know how you would. And let's just see if this works. So if this works, we're now observing the values. So we should be able to populate our table view right off the bat with whatever values that we have in there. And then whenever we make a new post, it should be added to our table view as well. So let's see what happens. Bam, it's working. Oh, yay. Cool. Good stuff. All right, so let's do the little add button, which my alert controller should pop up. And then, yay, we did it. So now we do post. And yay, we did it right here. Bam. See it? So that's one of the problems, is that I believe that they're doing it I think that your values are coming back in the incorrect order for whatever reason. And I think it's when we iterate through the dictionary that it's causing that. And as opposed to doing the change right there, I'm just going to do it as opposed to doing the change in the post snapshot and making sure that it's sorted properly right there. I'm just going to do it right here for sake of time. But yeah, so what we'll do is, since we remember, that's why I put in the date. So self.posts is equal to self.posts dot sort, and then we're going to do since we have we're going to do the sort function dot, and we know that each of these are posts, so we'll do dot, oh no, not sorted. Oh, see, that's where you messed me up. Sort dot sort. How did I do this last time? I'm sorry, I got to double check. Oh, that's why, because it sorts in place. Okay, dot sort. There we go. And since we know that each of these are going to be posts, we just do that. And then remember that we have a date in there. So what we'll do is 0 dot date dot, if it works, right? Gonna work for me? Okay, anyway, date function has a compare and compare to the other date. And is equal to dot ordered descending. This is all like date stuff, so you don't have to know it. It's not gonna really, it has nothing really to do with Firebase. Yeah, this is just gonna sort it by date, and then so it's gonna compare these two dates, and then we're gonna do ordered descending so that the newest post is going to be on top. So let's go ahead and try that out, make sure that it's working as expected. And then if this does work, then I will go ahead and do a quick rundown of everything that I covered, because I know that I kind of got vague in some areas, so I want to help you guys out with that. Yeah. No, it's a long time. Took a long time to explain all this stuff, but I hope, step by step kind of makes sense. So yay, we did it, as you can see on the top. And then we'll do a new one. And then this is my new post. This is my new post. Bam, right there. All updated. Don't even have to do like anything. See? So quick. So amazingly lightweight. Look at everything is like, this view controller is less than 80 lines of code. And we got a couple of extra spaces in there. So let me just go ahead, go back over anything I might have missed. So first we started off with being able to add a post to the reference that we specified here. All this is just alert controller stuff, so you should know how to do that, or you don't necessarily need to know how to do it in an alert controller. You could just do a button or whatever, but alert controller seems to work nicely since you could add the text field right here. The only reason I added a date string was so that I could sort them later, because I know that sometimes the sorting is a little bit jacked up, and you probably want to have a way of sorting things from oldest to newest or whatever. Parameters, since we can set the value with anything. Remember I said that it could take in strings, it could take in integers. I believe it could take in doubles and floats, but I'm not too 100% sure on that. It could take in arrays and dictionaries, obviously. Just be careful with what you pass it. A lot of UI kit classes you obviously can't pass up. Some foundation classes you can't pass up. So it's just basic information that you would store like in any other normal database. So all we stored were strings. Made it easy. We had our date object converted into a string, right? Turn it into a string, send it up with the username, the message, which was dynamic, and then the date somewhat dynamic. Sent it to the post reference. Remember that when we look at the post reference, we get the Firebase Database reference, right, which is these three. right here. So for database.database.reference, that connects you to your database, and then you choose the child that you want to look at. We were looking at posts. Not going to get into beers. We could have done beers the same exact thing. It doesn't matter what you call it. You just want to have reference to that data right here. So to that path, to that endpoint, right? So yeah, once you have reference to that, you can set a value and make sure that you want to do child by auto ID or some type of ID that's going to be unique, because if you try to do it with the same ID, it's going to overwrite that value. So we do child by auto ID, and then we set the value and we pass in the parameters or whatever else that you wanted to pass in. When we're observing, once we have our table view all connected, all we have to do is we have to get the reference to our post reference, right? And then we're going to observe our post reference, and we chose to observe any changes in value whatsoever. So if anything was added, deleted, moved, whatever. You saw some of the different values that you can observe, but we're going with value for the general purpose of seeing everything from that from our post reference. The snapshot will show you everything in the snapshot. Remember that it's the dot value that you want to actually use with the snapshot. It's not the snapshot itself. We made a post snapshot model, which essentially parses out, the actual value, makes sure that it is in the format of being a dictionary that has a value of dictionaries. And then we created our post objects, and in our post snapshot we have a property that stores all of our posts in an array, which is easy to access out here, so that when we're ready to access those posts, we just say our snapshot or post snapshot, access that array, set it to our current array, and then we decided to sort them because they weren't in the correct order, so we just sorted them by date in descending order. And then once our posts were all sorted, we just updated our table view, and yeah, we're golden. Everything works as expected. We just set the message to be the text label, and we set our username to be the details label, and voila, we have Firebase up and running. We have a working table view where we could just store anything. This would be great for any like a notes app. You save it real time, you fire it up, and you can see all the notes. Obviously there's no authentication or authorization, so it's not going to be unique. It's going to be what everybody stores. But if you go back and learn how to create a user, you can combine the knowledge of how to create a user and how to use that to make it so that you only people that are logged in through your app can access the information here. And then you can also set specific boundaries, who has access to what notes, or who has their own specific notes. One last thing that I wanted to point out. One of the advantages of having your rules like this, other than being able to create and use data from a Firebase database and setting it to anybody can read and anybody can write, is that having this set to true, we can go to our database, we can see our endpoint, we can see, not our endpoint, but like our endpoint. We just go ahead and copy this, right? And since anybody can read and write to it, what we can do is we could go ahead and paste it in there, and remember the path that we wanted to look at, which was posts. So we're just going to type in posts, and what we can do is we can do .json. And if we do this, we get all of our data right here. Like, that is super amazing little cool tip, I think, for you guys. In my personal opinion, you can just go ahead and copy this, go over to Google, go to I think it's called Pretty JSON, and you just go ahead and paste this in here, or you could paste it in like a text file or whatever. And now look at this, and this is something that you can use on the web. Like you can, like if I created a new one, or hold on, if I get this like and create a private browser, anybody can see this. So you can go to this information right now and you can see all my JSON in here. It's stored right there, and you can access and use my my info like an API. So this is a really cool thing to know, because let's say like you're tired of going through tutorials where everybody's always either using posts or users, and you're like, oh man, I don't want to do posts or users, I'm doing beers. Like I don't understand how having users and trying to use that same information with beers, it doesn't make sense to me. Well, what you can do is you can go back and you can, you know, kind of play around with some of this stuff, and you can change the data into something that you like to work with for whatever your project is. So now you can use an API and you can have like real data that you can test out with, which is really cool. So that's just something to keep in mind. Only thing now is just to save this thing to GitHub. So yeah, I try to be as thorough as possible. It is a very deep subject. There's all kinds of different things that you can still do that I didn't cover, but I mean, as you can see, just getting this stuff set up is long enough. Oh no, I didn't want to go to YouTube. Getting this stuff set up is long enough to try to go over in detail. If there's something else that you want me to go over in detail specifically, I'll do that. If it's about storing photos and videos and things like that, don't worry, I'm going to get to that. Just need some time. You have to understand how this piece works before you can kind of start saving photos and like using them in a realistic way. So I'm working my way up to that. So all the good things about Firebase I'm going to eventually cover. Just, you know, trying to get you guys going with some baby steps. So I'm going to call this one Firebase database structure. All right, this one's gonna be called code from my Firebase database structure tutorial. README, why not? All right, guys. So remember, if you are going to try to use this project, then make sure you do the pod install, or else it may not work. Get init, get remote, add origin, get pull origin master. Type in my password, hit add all, get get add dash all. Damn it. Okay, add all, right? Are you adding or not? Okay. Get commit dash am finished tutorial. Get push origin master. Type in that password and done. Alright, so if you want to look at this project, download it, see how I did everything, reuse it as a reference, whatever, then it should be here. If I did it right. What happened? Is it still writing? Oh, it's still writing. Oh, well, anyway, it will be there. If it doesn't work, then I'll get it to work. Anyways, yeah, so if you guys have any questions, or if there's anything else that you want me to go over in depth, as you know, I do the long videos. I don't do the 20-minute videos, which is kind of a downside a lot of the time, but you know, some people take value out of them. So yeah. I'll try to cover whatever it is that you're interested in depth for you, and yeah, give you a shout out as well for actually sending me a comment or tweeting me whatever that it is that you wanted to learn. So yeah, and bam, it's all there. All right, so make sure you like the video if you watched this far. I mean, you might as well like it. Subscribe to the channel so that you guys can catch all the other stuff that I'm going to be going into in depth. And then, leave me a comment, say hi, tweet me, things like that. It always makes me feel good when somebody reaches out to me. It makes me feel like I helped somebody that day. So, yeah. Alright guys, my name is Kyle Lee, aka Kilo Loco from kiloloco.com, and as always, code passionately.